Metal is very fun to draw because you can achieve amazing results with just a few tricks. In this tutorial, I will show you how to draw shiny metal. So we're going to start with a simple metallic object and learn how to draw it in a few steps. I will use a silver hex knot as an example, but you can use the same techniques to draw a metal texture on any object. Before learning how to draw the metal texture, we need to learn how to sketch the shape. As I said, I'm drawing a hex knot as an example for this video. So let's begin. Since this is a geometric shape, the best method is to draw it from a cube. But let me show you the pattern on a 2D square first, and then we can move forward and turn it into a 3D shape. For the basic pattern, just draw a flat, simple square in perspective. The angle and direction don't really matter. Just go for less challenging angles. Use the HB pencil and sketch your lines lightly because these are just guidelines. After drawing the square, find the middle of the square by connecting lines from the corners like this. So divide the shape into half from each angle, vertical, horizontal, and a slanted. Then divide each one of these 4 smaller boxes into half again. And from here, the job is quite easy. We need to mark these points and connect them to shape a hexagon. Darken the main lines to distinguish them from the guidelines. Okay, this is the flat pattern of the hex knot. Now let's draw the 3D version. Again, draw a flat 2D square in perspective. Then draw the height of the square and give it dimension like this. This will turn it into a 3D shape. You can also draw the back planes. Then, just like what we did for the flat square, find the middle of the box by connecting the lines from the corners. I skipped the steps where we draw little boxes, and I just divided the shape into 3 equal parts by drawing 3 horizontal, equally spaced lines. But you can choose whichever one of these methods you like. Now we've got the main points. So the next step is connecting these points by drawing lines to shape the hexagon. Draw darker lines for the final shape to make it pop out. And finally, just draw an oval in the middle. Draw another oval inside the first one. And just draw some half ovals inside it to show the rings inside the hole. I can quickly do some shading to give it some definition. Let's try drawing a simple metal knot again to practice. Here's another example from a different angle. So just like what we did before, draw a square in perspective. Turn it into a 3D cube, find the middle, divide it into 3 equal horizontal parts, connect the corners to shape the hexagon, draw an oval in the center of the shape, and darken the main lines. If you have trouble working with cubes or you need more practice on drawing a cube correctly, just check the link above. I'm sure you'll find it helpful. Now that we know how to sketch the basic shape, it's time for shading. Metallic means reflecting in high contrast. Let's give the surface something to reflect to show it. If you are drawing from real life, the first step is to look at the object carefully and pay attention to the areas of light and shadow. It really helps if you have a reference photo to look at, because each object might reflect the light differently based on the direction of the light, the position of the viewer, and the environment the object is placed on. Look at your object as if it were standing in front of you and decide where the light source is. Then shade the parts that are not directly illuminated. The way the light reflects off the object and the variations of reflections are very important. Tilt your pencil and fill the shadow areas of the hex knot with a light gray value. Use the same pencil to shade the very edge of this side. Make it sharp on the edge and then blend it toward the body of the hex knot. I'm using an HB pencil here for the base layer of my shading, and I'm shading softly with light strokes without applying too much pencil pressure. I just want to introduce some shadows to separate the shadow family from the light family. Even old metal is reflective, so let's plan the reflections first. They will look the best on the edges of the angular base. Gently shade the side of the hex knot to create a side of the shine band. Shade these other sides as well, but this time don't create a sharp edge of the shine band. Instead, gently blend into it. It's important to have some darker lines on the inner part of the hex knot and leave some white lines between them. This will help to show the rings inside the knot. Metal is all about that shine, and shine is created by contrast. Because metal is so reflective, it also reflects itself. That's what we needed all these bulges for. They take some shine from the surfaces around and reflect it in the shadows. Adding some basic shading gives the shape a three-dimensional quality, but it doesn't look metallic, shiny, or reflective. To make something look metallic, first increase the contrast. Then add more light and dark transition, creating a sort of pattern. The overall effect of a picture is strongly influenced by how such a reflection succeeds. You can also add some specular highlights, which are those super bright, crisp white highlights indicating a direct reflection of the light source. Usually the white color comes from the direct reflection of the light. These white areas that appears on the surface is very important for drawing metal reflections. Some of the transitions from light to dark are gradual, like on the shape's left side, in this darkest spot. Some transitions are more abrupt, like on the top side of the shape. To make something look super shiny, you can make the shading transition less gradual and more abrupt, and add more of these transitions. The basic shading is done, and now we just need to increase the contrast. Take the B pencil, tilt it, and shade the inside of the object some more. The inside of the shape is as shiny as the outside, so it reflects itself. Use this fact to create some interesting details. You don't need to be perfectly accurate, just make it look as if it's reflecting something. Take the HB pencil again, make sure it's well sharpened, and draw some quick scratches on some areas. Give each of them a slightly different direction. You can take the blending stem and carefully blend the shadow to make it uniform. I prefer to do this by creating very soft and short strokes to cover the paper texture better. For this step, I usually use the very tip of my pencil. This covers the paper much better. Double check your drawing and add the final touches with the HB pencil. Take the 6B pencil and darken this area even more, blending it as softly as possible. This will be our point of reference for the darkest shade. It is interesting and makes a picture appear three-dimensional when dark shadows and reflections are illustrated. This is clearly visible in this drawing. The dark reflection in the center of the knot enhances the metallic shining effect and describes the shape of the body. Take the 2B pencil and add some shadows on the base to accentuate the 3D form of the shape. So today we learned how to draw a realistic shiny metal texture. If you want to keep learning, check out my other tutorials on the texture tutorial series. I hope you find this tutorial useful. Thank you so much for watching. See you for the next one, and bye.